Kuyebuktiri. I don't know why I still try. Well, whatever. We're here to tell two sides of a story we heard a bit before. A story of cavalry, pillage, and brutal crimes against humanity. We're going Mongol again. The steppes are on fire. Tatars, Naimans, Merkits, Kirids, they all think they're hot shit and step on each other's toes. Meanwhile, Mongolia continues to be a barren flat shithole without any guidance or leadership. Our mission today is simple, unite it all under the 9 bands. By force. But Temujin's story is one of the most incredible in recorded history for a reason. We start from absolutely nothing, just our intrepid leader and his best buddy Jamuka, and the quest to find Uncle Onkan and ask him for help to deal with the first nuisance on the way towards world conquest, the Merkits. Uncle Ong spares some horses and we hurry back to put them to good use, for our wife, Borte, is waiting rescue. Upon arrival at the camp, we throw our new horses on the fire, because medieval Mongolia is a magical place and burnt horses reincarnate instantly as cavalry archers. With a newly formed pack, we march on to fight our aggressors. Jamuka, being the only person with the means to afford armor, runs in first as bait, while Temujin and the burnt horses run in after to dish out all the damage. Resources are not just rare, and all the caution in the world is necessary to avoid losses. But once the resistance is cleared, we are safe to stick around and poke buildings with spears and arrows until they catch on fire and burn down, so we can pillage it for all they have. And this is pretty much all the scenario is. Hit and run to draw aggro, rinse and repeat until they're all dead, capture more horses, throw them in the fire for Mangudai, and destroy everything in the enemy camps for resources to make sure they can't come back from the dead. But as you can see, we are not freeing Borte from the big tent yet, because as much as I'd love to reunite the two lovebirds, freeing her from the fiery tent would mean the enemies would start raiding us, and I don't want that yet. Instead, we continue raising Merkit camps and collecting sheep for our future tribe. Another positive of playing it this way is choosing when to deal with the remaining enemies, like the Tatars over here. For now we can ignore everyone else and make sure to punish the Merkits completely for kidnapping our wife. And collecting more horses to throw in the fire, my favorite mechanic in the VAV scenario so far. Another way to be resourceful in the steppes is bringing your army of fire horses to the shaman in the camp to be healed while the hero units do the more boring part of the raiding. And when everyone is healed, rested and ready for action, we move on to another Merkit camp. Always leaving Jamuka in front to soak up the damage while we stay behind to do all our damage, since he is tanky and doesn't die. Jamuka, no. It's okay, as I said before, the steppes are magical, and he was teleported back to base to tend to his wounds, and will return to us with the Mangudai that will appear after we burn these 2 horses alive. And this poor fella that we sent home to be healed by our shaman. Or maybe not. We raise the camp and march east to avenge our fallen comrade, while Jamuka waits for the new troops after his spa day. You killed our friend, who is also a Mongol. That's Mongolicide, and we won't abide by it. A little pit stop at home to heal wounds and eat some gold, and we meet up with the new troops. To once again ignore Bort in her fiery yurt, for there are more Merkits out and about. Telling you what's happening for the remainder of this will get repetitive, so let's get some Mongol facts up in this bitch. As you can see by the name of the scenario, Genghis Khan is not his actual name, but his title. The Great Khan's real name is Temujin, which means iron or blacksmith, which coincidentally is also the name of his great-great-nephew, another conqueror you may have heard of, Tamerlane. I mean, Timur means iron, not that Tamerlane's name is also Temujin. So if you get a hooker pregnant and you want to make sure the kid will amount to something, regardless of the morality of what they do, there's a suggestion for the name. Iron. Anyways, we leave Jamuka to fight the blacksmith and go scouting for more Merkits, just to stumble upon the Great End, which isn't important now, and we continue towards another hit-and-run adventure. Despite all the fame he has for being a ruthless conqueror and womanizer, Temujin never really wanted any of this bullshit. Or at least that's what the Extra History series on him told me. He just wanted to live his life peacefully with Borte. Speaking of which, now that the Merkits are no more, we leave Jamuka again to be angry at buildings and ride to free our wife from her fiery tent. How she didn't die from smoke inhalation can only be explained one way: stat magic. Don't worry buddy, I don't think that's an issue anymore. Because this is Mongolia, and Mongolia is sexist, we send the women back to build a proper camp and hold a little something something for our army with Irag and sheep chops. Uncle Ong sent us some shekels. We build everything we need for now and go on a shopping spree for some new technologies. I guess no one really liked the Merkits because everyone decided to offer us a daughter in marriage. And you may think, but don't you already have Borte? Yeah, but these are the steppes, bitch. We collect wives the same way we collect war crimes. And speaking of atrocities, Uncle Ong calls us to fight the Tatars, and we take on the banner without any hesitation, because we were headed that way anyways. Somewhere at the peak of his career, our great Khan organized a debate between Christians, Muslims and Buddhists to see who had the best religion. It ended without a clear winner, because everybody got too drunk to be coherent. Now, I don't know if this is true, and I did find it in a Mongolian tourism website, but it sounds fun, so we're believing it to be true for now. We raised the first Tatar camp, and despite the fierce resistance and late reinforcements, no big losses are recorded, and we march on to take another camp. I have been rather critical of the VAV scenario so far, despite liking how they play. I often feel they stray a bit far from what the civilizations being played have to offer in a normal game, and it relies too much on alternate upgrades and units to tell the story. Not Temujin. This really makes you feel like a Mongol with all the hit and run, juking and microing of Mangudai. By accident, Temujin walks into the main Tatar tent and ends up marrying their Khan's daughter. Oopsie poopsie Borte, hope you're fine with it. But we get some camels to protect the tribe, so all's well. Another camp raised and another one on site, standing on the edge of the Gobi Desert. Speaking of which, it is rumored that Genghis Khan is buried around here, although they diverted the river to cover his burial place and murdered everyone involved so he wouldn't be discovered. The lengths a man goes to not have his eternal slumber disturbed. More horses thrown into the fire, and the army healed from its wounds, and we marched on to finish the Tatars once and for all. I've never been to Mongolia, but if it's anything like the pictures I've seen or what the map shows, it's understandable why they only thought about building shit 2000 years after Rome was founded. There's absolutely fuck all here besides angry men and sheep. I actually made friends with the Mongolian economists some years ago, and if you speak to them without knowing Genghis War's shenanigans, you would also consider him a god. They idolize him like crazy over there. He's on the money, airport, national anthem, and they even have this massive stick statue of him in the capital. I get it. I would like a statue made of me if I took my people from dirt-eating savages to the world's biggest empire ever. Anyways, the final Tatar camp is raised, but they refuse to quit, so we have to take a detour and destroy the blacksmith we left standing on the main camp, as some children were hiding there. Haha, not on my watch, kids. With half the enemies gone, we set our sight on the Naimans, the tribe of the one and only, Mongolia's hemorrhoid, Kushluk. I feel I've talked up Genghis Khan quite a lot so far, and probably more than I should have considering he caused the death of over 40 million people in a time where the world's population was around 400 million. Although that did delay global warming by a few hundred years, so there's a silver lining there. However, a lot of the deaths on his record can be attributed to two things, the Black Death and China. The Black Death because of how well the plague traveled through his road network, and the Silk Road. There are some YouTube videos explaining how massive of an impact this had on the plague. I recommend watching. And China because they always had the most population on the planet. You torch a city there in the year 1200 and killed enough people to populate Iceland today. Hell, if Temujin fell off his horse on a bush, he would probably crush like 30 people. Anyways, time for another celebration feast, for more horses, and for Temujin's son to join us, Chagatai. You watch your mouth, you old slut. Our best buddy betrays us for power, so we do what anyone would do in the situation. We murder. Jamaica's friendship story with Temujin is very sad to read. Although they affirmed themselves as blood brothers, Jamaica got too big for his boots and thought to be better because he came from a more noble background. And despite the betrayal, Genghis Khan offered him to join the horde, and the dipshit said no, and he still got an honorable death. Granted, this could just be, brutal genocidal dictator propaganda, but putting myself in the Great Khan's shoes, if I was betrayed by my best friend like this, I think I would also have mercy if I proved more than once that I'm better than him. There's no point in beating a dead horse. We hold another feast for Imperial Age and upgrade our army a final time before marching on towards the finish line. The Naimans hid their final hideout up in the cliffs, but we could smell the cowardice from all the way in the Gobi Desert, and as the final hut turns to dust, only Uncle Ong remains between us and eternal glory. You will be flogged. The Great Horde convenes by the Great Tent, and the Great Temujin enters to become the Great Khan, allowing us to train the Great Mangudai. With the full army, we roll on to face the final enemy, Uncle Ong. At this point we are so strong and overpowered that his army melts at the sight of our Mangudai. I know you might be thinking, why are you leveling everything? And it's because I'm not taking chances after the blacksmith incident. If there are kids hiding in the tents, they will be murdered in cold blood. I get why the world was terrified of the Mongols. It must have been terrifying to see this arriving at your doorstep. Genghis Khan crowned the Great Khan of Mongolia in 2 hours 26 minutes and 21 seconds. And only 6 units lost. Speaking of seeing the Mongols arriving made me wonder how it really feels to be in that situation. So we travel a couple of decades into the future, to the Kievan Rus, and take on the body of Mstislav the Bold, one of the great defenders of Europe from the Mongols. Before we get on, a little shout out to Jack from Jack's Meat Shack for allowing us to explore history in our own way. Jack's Meat Shack, you can beat our meat, but not our prices. And here we start in the main square of Smolensk, Mstislav's realm, already being raided by rebellious drunk soldiers. A very welcome cinematic introduction to the scenario and oh yes, they unite Segals! Apparently this was a wedding night for someone, and literally everyone asked for a kingdom, and now we must defeat Vsevolod of Kiev, Sviatoslav of Novgorod, Yuri of Vladimir, and Danilo of Halych. A hop, skip, and 525 kilometers jump to the nearest one in real life. But nothing Mstislav can't do in under an hour. However, we are still a tad underpowered to take on the main task, so we fight to regain control of the countryside first. With each purple dot on the map retaken, we are awarded with more population capacity, resources, and more visibility on the map. This is also a no economy scenario, only war, and to war we go. Meeting new friends around the forest, killing those who oppose us, we blaze through the countryside, liberating all that are oppressed by the mighty boot of the Bogotirs. That is until we place our own boots on their necks. I hope I didn't spoil too much saying that the threat here is the Mongols, since on the scoreboard it shows unknown invaders.
Oh god, they're coming! Please, the Mongoloids are coming! I need 500 food.
Helping the Cumans has never hurt anyone, so we tribute our savage friends 500 food for 5 of their kipchaks, and continue on our liberation campaign until we find some new funny looking foreigners.
Here's the deal. Satan lives in these woods. Us Christians need to stick together and purge the evil.
Cool, but I don't give
If you help us out, we can help you out.
The dude with the horns made a compelling offer, and we accept the deal. It's a lot of work to be so bold, but history will reward us with a single page in Wikipedia and an Age of Empires scenario, so it's all worth it. We hire a few more Cumans for the sweet kipchaks. Mstislav gets stuck in a house after he dropped the key on the crapper, and we venture forth into Satan's swamps. The area is very difficult to navigate, and the pagans have shamans to pester our troops. But as the old adage goes, hippity hippity gong, your religion is wrong.
They come in millions, and they have dragons, and battering rams, and travel at the speed of sound. They also turned my mom into a lampshade, and fucked my dad. You need to be ready!
The Cuman warnings resonate deeply within our ranks, and we send a second army to speed up the process. We also hire another Cuman platoon, because I really like kipchaks. Back in the swamps, our intrepid warriors with moss water up their taint find another pagan shrine. Homino hominid, your god is stupid. A catapult is brought to rescue Mstislav from the house he can't get out from, and battering rams start being built, for we haven't rescued any city, and I can hear throat singing in the distance. Half of Satan's pagan shrines are destroyed, and we hire yet more Cumans. We find the third shrine, and while Mstislav rides to convene with the Swamp Brigade, the move towards Kiev begins. The way is filthy with opposers of the throne, but nothing that the Rus cavalry can't easily deal with. God forgives, we make sure the pagans arrive at his feet. A third brigade starts being trained to deal with the northern princes, along with more Cumans. We meet more loyal friends on the outskirts of Kiev, and after scouting the walls a bit, we send in the rams to make way for us. I know it's supposed to scare me, ooh, spooky Mongols are coming, but how bad can it be? From what I've heard, they are even pretty tolerant with other religions.
Vielen Dank for destroying the pagan shrines and forcing an entire population to convert to our religion. We will help you murder the non-believers as is the will of God. Deus vult!
A society that accepts other beliefs and gods can't be that bad to deal with. I'm sure if we keep our policy of diplomacy above everything else, no harm can come. Anyways, as we come knocking at Kiev's main gates, our people start getting antsy with all the Cumans roaming free. However, we do fuck all about it, because I like kipchaks more than I like my own people. Kiev is liberated from Vsevolod, and we have our first ally for the final showdown. A little break to rebuild our rams, bring our Christian friends to base, upgrade our defenses, and hire more Cumans to die for our cause. Or maybe not, seems like we're fully stacked for now. At least until we liberate a little bit more of the Russian countryside, which at this point is barely an inconvenience to be fair. The rebels aren't strong enough to even dent our powerful cavalry. Huh, what's all these carts and villagers doing walking this way? Oh well, less mobs to feed, and subtracting the ones we're killing now should give a nice stockpile for the winter.
Undskyld mig, herre. Har du noget imod at fortælle mig, hvilket vej Konstantinopel ligger?
What?
He's asking which way Constantinople is.
You speak that? How?
I did a semester abroad in Roskilde.
Doing what?
It was an internship on Norse literature. You wouldn't believe how inspiring the scriptures are. There's just so much passionate love.
I hate you. So goddamn much. Varangians could be a useful asset on our side, but I don't want to hear anything about scriptures, so we send them on their way and continue on ours, towards Novgorod. The siege begins, a long-lasting siege, a frontal assault so long, a whole day's cycle went by, until the gates fell to the battering rams. Fun fact about Novgorod, they were by far the most powerful principality in Russia until around this time, when Mstislav, the Mongols, and pretty much everyone else who tried beat them to a pulp. Or not, I honestly don't remember if it's Novgorod and I don't feel like looking up. But the city falls to the Boyars, and we only miss Vladimir and Halych. Out east, our church-loving friends help clear some churches when we spot a familiar face running our way, Kotian Khan, who's also our father-in-law here. What a small world. Let's give them another 1,000 food. I like Kotian. I also like Kipchaks very much.
The Mongols! They're here! Like around the corner!
Who that?
The Mongols, you dipshit! They're destroying everything in their path! Get ready! We need to prepare!
You helping us?
Yeah, I mean, you married my daughter. And you have been quite nice to my people, when everyone is kind of a dick.
Well, it would be shitty of me to turn my back on you, but I appreciate that. Up north, we march towards Vladimir, as Yuri has been naughty, and we need more friends in the Eastern Front's Justice League. Fuck, this just enabled a childhood memory for me. In 1st or 2nd grade, I had a friend called Yuri, and he bit my eye once. His dad had just died, and he wasn't handling it very well. I really hope he's doing better these days. I liked him a lot. I mean, fuck him for biting my eye. I didn't kill his dad, but you know. A few more technologies queued up in the Social University of Smolensk, and we stormed the city of Vladimir. The city is defended annoyingly by towers, conics, and mangonels because yes, in this universe a city deep inside Russia is Bulgarian. But they fall, and only Halych stands between us and a complete roster in the Slavic A-team. We gather our forces in the southern gate and march on, this time without any siege engines. We sneak in during the night when the town guard comes to check out the kerfuffle, and as the sun rises, we set dagger inside the city, wiping the garrison out and taking over the keep by force. The vodka buddies are assembled, nothing will stand in our way. Yes, we are but humble ambassadors for the great Khan, here to offer you an easy way towards glory, by surrendering to us unconditionally and serving the one and only Genghis Khan. Yeah, I'm inclined to accept it, but can you tell me better what the terms are? Well, fuck. I guess Uncle hasn't heard what happens when you kill a Mongol diplomat. But I believe in our alliance. The vodka buddies will prevail. Yeah, it's just some cavalry archers. I'll lure them towards the castle and fight them from a vantage point. See? Didn't even have to go that far in the retreating. These Cumans are so dramatic. Shit. Okay, we lure them away from our city. Kiev is better protected and will help us out. Just a little bit further. Hey Kiev, hey guys, I brought a gift. We are safe and sound within the walls. It'll give us some time to plan our next move. Shit, the next phase of step magic is phasing through walls. Quick, into the inner walls, since we all know phasing doesn't work at night. Although apparently walking around the walls still does wonders. I guess hiding in the castle is the only solution for now. Oh my god, this is one of the few times I actually feel besieged in this game. And it's not even older units. Who would have thunk that the Cumans were actually into something with the panic? Well, good thing we still have 3 more allies to soak damage before we have to deal with them. I wonder which way they'll go. I hope Halych. Let me just buy some more Cumans. No, why? Okay, I'll just have these guys here ready to lure them away in case they come for us. Ooh, opportunity to kill the siege. It's our time to shine. Nope, that didn't go as planned. Oh no, where are they going? Yes, keep going north. Vladimir's the right way. Oh no, why would you aggro them, Kotian? Fuck, good thing we're so close by. We arrive in Vladimir and hide inside their krepels just to find out I did a shit job luring them north, and hiding in the krepels was as good as nothing. Somehow our weak-ass garrison and some scorpions managed to repel the assault that was going on. I had zero faith this was going to work. But I was wrong before, and I was wrong again, and the Mongols reached the bottom of their power for the time being. Could this be the massive triumph the Slavic A-team was looking for? The Mongols are still nothing to be arrogant at, but we form yet another battalion to fight, and after finding the Khans all unprotected, slaughtering them and ambushing the remaining siege units, the rest of the great horde crumbles at the hand of Mstislav the Bold. Mstislav done, in 1 hour, 37 minutes and 27 seconds. Runtime clocks in at 4 hours, 3 minutes and 48 seconds. We had full campaigns that took less time than these two scenarios, but I regret nothing, they were both very good. Temujin feels like a much needed improvement over the original first scenario of Genghis Khan, and Mstislav added a whole new level of fear of Mongols in me. By the way, I have tried Mstislav on both hard and moderate difficulty and failed miserably. Beating this can be a real challenge if you're not ready for it. Partial time stands at 216 hours 55 minutes and 4 seconds. And I like this whole historical pairing thing. Let's do Seljuks and Komnenos next. Also, the bottom 5 scenarios are still on the way, takes forever, blah blah blah.